this is Jack, and this video is called Why People Have an Affair. This is a reaction video to a short piece from Esther Perel. Many of you will know her work if you're not familiar with it. She is a psychotherapist, and she talks a lot about the causes of affairs. And she also talks about it from, I think, a more optimistic perspective than some people, because she's had experience of working with couples and bringing them out on the other side. So let's have a listen to what she has to say. I'm just going to minimize myself here. And without further ado, Esther Perel.
If there is an affair, there must be something missing. And either there's something missing in our relationship or there's something missing in you. Often, when you are attracted by the gaze of another, it isn't just because you want to leave the person that you are with, but it is because you want to leave the person that you have yourself become. And it isn't just that.
That's a really profound sentence. I hope you picked that up. It isn't because you want to leave the other person, it's because you want to leave the person that you yourself have become. This is one of the things I really like about Esther Perel in this domain, is that she's looking at it, I think, from a more mature perspective, a more kind of psychologically rich perspective, almost including like a Jungian shadow perspective than most people are.
That you want to meet somebody else, but you want to meet another self. There is no greater other than a different version of yourself. If there is an affair,
there is no greater other than another version of yourself. So this is a really interesting perspective. I'm not sure if this is a new perspective to you, but it's basically looking at who have you become in a relationship. And let's just say you've become stale or small or disempowered, or perhaps there's a lot of stagnancy. Maybe the relationship has become very mundane and routine, and that's how you're experiencing yourself. Esther Perel is going to say, well, what's the desire, right? The desire is for your own aliveness. The desire is to have some passion or some mystery. And if you're not getting that in the relationship, you might start, they had the wrong text. They said gears in the text in the video, but they mean gaze, the gaze of another. You might start to look to someone else because over there with this new person, there is aliveness, right? Or there is mystery. There is a lot of unknown. There is a lot of uncertainty, right? We don't have the routine mundaneness of a commitment container, right? Of putting out the trash, of paying down the mortgage, of raising kids, of looking at retirement funds, of taking care of our home space and our finances and all the sort of day-to-day things that couples do. And this would be, in her view, I guess, one risk factor for having an affair is if you don't like who you've become in a relationship. And you might put that on another person, you might put that on your partner, but she's saying actually, and if she was working with you, she would say, let's look inside, let's look at yourself. Now, I do think it's interesting, just to put an Enneagram overlay here, right? She's talking about what's missing. And on the Enneagram, we know that that is a preoccupation of type 4. And I would probably imagine that Esther Perel is type 4, just having looked at some of the themes that she talks about, the push and the pull. She talks a lot in these interesting polarities of relationship, right? We want the safety, the security, the trust, but we also want the unknown and the mystery and the passion. I think she talks about it sort of more articulately, I think, than probably anyone that I've come across. I really appreciate about that in her work. There could be a bias because we all have an enneagrammatic bias, right? I have mine, she has hers. So she might be specifically focusing on what's missing. And that may not be quite so true for people at large as it is for her. And I think the point that she's making is incredibly potent. So if you found yourself in this situation, right, maybe you got into an affair, maybe your partner got into an affair, getting curious, you know, whilst you're processing all the obviously difficult and many feelings about that, getting curious about who has your partner become in the relationship, or who have you become in the relationship? And from that place, does it make sense that they may want more aliveness than they're getting in a relationship? That can be a very powerful question to ask. It can obviously be confronting, but it could almost imagine, well, oh, has the relationship, whether it's you, me, us, has it taken care of the need for aliveness, mystery, passion, discovery? And if it hasn't, just acknowledging that relationship had a vulnerability. Now, that doesn't that doesn't say that it's okay to go out and go have an affair, right? But it might be a way of explaining why that happened. And it also might be a way of pointing to, if we want to try and rebuild trust and continue in relationship, we kind of now know that we need to attend to this, right? Now, we may decide we tried and we can't attend to it, right? There just isn't enough aliveness, connection, passion between us. But for a lot of couples, that's something that they will have experienced together, and maybe they've backtracked, they've lost it, or other things have just kind of become priority, or it just becomes normalized to not have intimacy between us, right? We might spend a lot of time together, but that's different than actual intimacy. And I'm not talking about just sex and physical intimacy. I'm talking about actual relational, presence-based, conversational moments of connection and intimacy, right? Where we're actually looking at each other, we're engaging, we're taking in each other's worlds, we're curious about one another, we're connecting. And it can be really easy not to do that. Or if I'm already tired, do I want to put the energy and effort in and take the risk to making that happen? So she would say, we probably want to look there first. So I like what she's pointing to. I'm curious, does it make sense to you? What's your experience? I'd love you to hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you like her work. Would you like me to review more of it? Or if there's another video that you want me to review, hit me up in the comments, leave me a link, and I'll check it out. As always, I'm Jack. Thanks for being here.